I want to make a video on split testing. We're going to go over, how to split test different sort of segments of your sequence, your script, and yeah, kind of just show you how I do my split testing and what's a good versus a bad split test. The main message of this video is going to be stop split testing these minute things that are making no difference and expecting your campaign to change. You need to make scientific, calculated split tests and have a clear goal for the outcome of that. So high level, when you're doing a split test, you should be okay, well, I'm gonna test this versus this. It's a split, it's a real test, like a scientific study. It's not just okay, throwing these 5 scripts and I'll just use the one that performs the best. You test something versus another thing, and you want to isolate every variable except for that thing you're testing, so you know that thing is the only difference and that thing is what's making the difference. And so when you do a split test, to know if it's worth testing, you're okay, well, if the outcome is this, then what will I change? Versus if the outcome is this, what will I change, right? If I get 5 positive replies, what will I do? Versus if I get 10 positive replies. Maybe if I get 5, I'm going to stop using this and I'm going to try another thing. Whereas if I get 10, I'm going to use this in every one of my scripts, right? If I get 10 positive replies on the CTA versus another one that only gets 5, I'm like, okay, well, now I can use this new CTA on all my other scripts and hopefully that will perform better. And for something as simple as cold email, where it's pretty much just positive replies, bookings, maybe quality, and then closed deals, it's relatively simple, and usually it would just be positive replies, maybe bookings. So you want to make sure, okay, well, what tests are doing good in different KPIs. And you might also see, though, that you have one test gets half the positive replies, but the quality is way better, and you're not getting any of these tire kicker, just bad leads. And that is good because that's good friction, and that's weeding out the people that you don't want in your funnel. And just a thing to note, reply rate in cold email really does not matter too much. So the first metric you track is positive reply rate. How many leads contacted or how many emails sent converted into how many positive replies. But so going to split testing. Okay, I made a little bit of an order of split testing. This is not concrete, but this is around kind of the importance of split testing. So first thing is your offer. It's very, very important to have a really good offer. So that's the first thing you want to split test and make sure you find a really decent offer. Targeting, that's different lead lists. That's very important as well. And you want to make sure you're actually hitting the right people. But it's pretty easy to get this at least decent on the first try. I mean, kind of who your ICP is, depending on how much data you have with more people in the past. And then risk reversals, free trials, pay-per results, guarantees, money-back guarantees. Those are really good. Trying different one of those. Then CTAs, call to actions. So would you be open to a chat? Mind if I share more info? Could I send over a demo? Things like that. It wouldn't make a crazy difference, but they do make a decent difference, enough to split test it. And split testing different case studies, it's not going to be huge. When you do split test this, don't be I turned this person from 40% to 50%, or I turned this person from 50% to 60%. That's not what's going to make the huge difference. You can just use your best case study, but you can split test, okay, I increased this person's revenue by this to this, or I got this person this many more bookings. So you split test, okay, I got this person more bookings, or I got this person more revenue, and which one performs better on that. So that would usually be, I send a case study in the follow-up, so you could maybe test that there. And then enrichment, I don't like to go into this right away because it's better to do this when you optimizing a campaign instead of just off the bat. And then first line, you can try different personalized first lines. It's kind of similar to enrichment or different hooks, whatever. But the main thing, very important thing, when you're split testing, okay, you need to be you're not split testing the different words. The wording of it, the copywriting doesn't matter. You're split testing what you're presenting to them. So if you think of the actual data, the actual thing that you're presenting to them, okay, it can be explained in a bunch of different ways, but what you're explaining should be different in each split test. So a bad split test would be hey, first name, can I run your ads? Versus hey, first name, I run ads, can I run them for you? That's very similar, okay? And that is different copy. It does seem different, but you're presenting the same thing. Okay? The CTA is can I run your ads, right? It's the same CTA, just can I do this for you? And the offer is the same, I run ads. Maybe one script is going to perform marginally better, but this is not worth split testing. If you're good at copywriting, you might see, okay, well, maybe this script looks a bit better. I'm just going to run this script. There's no need to test it. And then a quick note, on split testing subject lines, because I didn't put that there, so you might be wondering. For deliverability, you don't want to do any open rate tracking. There's two reasons for that. One is that it's inaccurate because of how some of these Google things work. Sometimes it automatically opens them and it tracks that as an open. And it's also bad for deliverability because when you send an open rate tracker, it's like a pixel and then see if the pixel was loaded to check if the email is open or something like that. So it counts as sending an image and it just is not good deliverability. So for subject lines, you can just keep them super simple. You don't really have to split test them. Quick question, first name. It's like insane. Still works. So you don't need to split test them. But here, I made a list of just, a first email and then how you'd split test these different things in the email so you can kind of understand what it looks like. So the first email, hey, first name, I ran ads for Nike and we got X result. Would you be open to a chat about how we could do this for you? Split testing the offer, like, hey, I made Nike 20 new ad creatives and took the ROAS from X to Y. So instead of running ads, now you're making ad creatives, which it's a similar thing, but it is a different offer. And you could even niche split test that by like different types of ad creatives you're running, but that probably wouldn't make a significant difference. Then split testing targeting, we ran ads for Apple because this would be you're targeting apparel brands, Apple, you're targeting software brands, right? So that's gonna be different targeting. Same offer, same everything. Then risk reversal, hey, I ran ads for Nike. We got X results on paper results basis. Would you be open to chat? That's your risk reversal paper results, so they don't have to put anything up front, which is really good for cold traffic because the low risk is very good. Then CTA, mind if I send over a little more info on how I might be able to do this for you? Then you could send whatever, right? It's a different call to action. It's not asking for a booked call. It's asking to send more info. What you don't want to split test on CTA is like, would that be worth a chat versus is that worth a chat? Like that's the same thing. You're asking for the same thing, even though the copy is different. That's just what I'm trying to emphasize is that you're split testing different like a value, like the actual data value of like what you're saying is different. It's not just different copy, different wording. That doesn't really matter too much. And if you just do your best on wording it as best as you can, you probably did a decent job and you probably did as good as you're going to do. Case study, I ran ads for Adidas and we took them from X to Y. And a little thing on this, as I said before, like split test different things. Instead of like we took Nike from this to this ROAS, we took Adidas from this to this ROAS. That's not really going to make a difference. It would make more of a difference and still probably not a significant one if you say we took Nike's ROAS from this to this, or we increased Adidas's revenue from this to this. That's something worth split testing more, but still not going to be as important as the stuff above. Then enrichment, you might have a clay table or something like that. Say, hey, first name, sorry, you're running X ad creatives in location, and then you go into your thing. And first line, my assistant saw your ad and told me to reach out. That's the first line you could test. So I hope that makes sense. Where like for these different split tests, everything is the same. You're isolating the variables, and then you're just split testing one thing. It's a scientific study. Like you want to have like a clear, okay, I'm testing this, and with the result, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do this. And over time, you'll build like a master script with your best first line, best enrichment, best case study, best CTA, best risk reversal, best targeting, and all that. And then you can hit your targeting every 3 months. You can retarget, and you're gonna have a killer script. And if you're hitting KPI, you can just keep that script. You don't need to do too much. You don't need to risk. It's not worth the risk of losing KPI to try to get some better results. So just split test them in order of what actually matters until you're getting what you want. And then you can just scale up volume. Like it's quite simple. And if you're, maybe if you're really ambitious, you really need to get like an insane amount of bookings, or you can just handle as much as possible, then sure, keep on split testing. But it's not something where you just throw 5 completely different scripts and then you just choose the best performing one and then you have no clue why it's even better, right? Because what will happen a lot of the time is that you'll run through a full lead list and then you just have like one random script that's doing good. You need to make sure that you're doing it in an organized way and you're not just like testing random shit that doesn't mean anything. Now, like sometimes you don't have to be like this like strict about it. Maybe if you have an insane amount of things to split test, you could kind of like put couple of them. I mean, you also might want to match like the case study with the offer, or you might want to match the first line with the risk reversal, the CTA with the risk reversal, something like that, right? So you might split test a couple things, which is fair. You can split test them in pairs, but it's not insanely strict. But just know, like, being insanely strict about it is going to do way better than just testing a bunch of random shit. So key takeaway from this is just stop split testing, different wording and different like copywriting of things. It's going to make a very, very marginal difference, and it's way, way, way in the bottom of importance. This does not matter. Split test things that actually make a difference. I'll put this doc in the description. You can have it to look at. And if you're an agency who wants to run cold email, my calendar is in the description. You can book a call. If you need some help with the campaigns, you can DM me on like X or Twitter, and I can help you out, send you like a voice note or something about your situation, and subscribe.